out of many waters. It talks about the enemy that he saved David from. You know, in my own life, I grew up here in the desert. So when I went to university, I was like, I am out. Peace, hair grease. I'm going to California where there's a beach. Anybody? No, you guys love the desert? That's why you live here. Okay, great. I came back. Don't worry. We're all good. When I went to California, one of my number one ambitions, besides getting an education, which is very important, was to learn to surf. I wanted to learn to surf always, always, always. All we had here was skateboarding, and I love skateboarding, but I was like, I want to learn to surf. And so I paid the price by getting, just hammered by waves over and over and over to learn to surf. And as you get better, you start to surf better and better spots. And there's something about looking at that wave breaking over you and knowing that you're just about to catch this thing that you're like, man, there's something to that. And so we went to this place. It's a really famous wave in San Clemente, California. And there's tons of professional surfers there every single day. And there's a number of different breaks on this place. There's a San Onofre's above it, which is a famous longboarding wave. And then there goes Old Man's, then Churches, then Uppers, then Lowers, and so on and so forth. And at Churches, it looks like this next image, where these rocks that come out of the water. But the wave breaks very pretty. And it barrels over you. So people surf it anyways. And so I surfed it anyway. And I'd surfed it a bunch. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't really think too much about it. You see the big rocks. You know that everything underneath you is rocks. But that's tough. Just avoid the rocks. You know what I mean? It's kind of like life. We're going fast over lots of sharp objects. That's how it is. And here's the deal. I didn't think anything about it. I was 20. I was bulletproof, right? There's nothing going to happen. It's fine. And I come off the wave, and I catch the wave, and I'm in the pocket, feel good about it, and I just bobbled just a little bit. And that little bit caught in the board, and I purled like this. Boom, slammed my face down. And as I slammed, I hit my head on a rock. And I could immediately feel the blood come out of my head. It was psh, and it's just tumbling me. Boom, 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 sand. And I can't find the ground to push off and go towards the air. I can't find it. And it's dark. And I'm in a swirl with no air, and I'm tumbling. And I remember in those moments, it was like a car wreck that I later lived through. I cried out to God, not audibly, in my spirit, in my mind, in my soul. Everything was like, Jesus, help me now. How many people know what I'm talking about? You know, I was pretty awesome before that point. I was pretty tough. I thought I was pretty cool. And then I wasn't. All in one moment. And I can't say that it was anything except for the favor of God that suddenly my head was above water. There's nobody. There's no ground. I didn't touch off, push off, swim up. I just was above water. And it's when I read this verse, I think of those moments where it's God just plucks you out of the waters, takes you out of the hands of your enemies. He fights on our behalf. You know, it talks about in Romans, one of my favorite scriptures is Romans 8:35. It says, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress, persecution or famine, nakedness or danger or sword? It says no, and it talks about a previous scripture about lambs to the slaughter in verse 37. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. See, we're conquerors because of him. We're conquerors because he already fought all those things on our behalf. See, God is my rescuer. He's your rescuer. Let's say it together. God rescues me. God rescues me.